What's going on, guys? Mark back with the Getting Warmed Up module, and to be honest, this video probably doesn't even belong in here, but I want you to keep this stuff in mind during the course. But this could be like a standalone thing. Believe me, this is really impactful, and I'm going through this right now. I'm in talks with a broker to sell one of my agencies. This is no theory, no BS. I'm going to tell you guys exactly what you need if you want to really maximize the potential valuation of your agency. And listen, even if you don't want to build to sell, even if you're like, look, man, I just want to increase my revenue, I want to use it to buy like cool cars and fund other businesses, and that's awesome. You can definitely do that. But believe me when I say, even if you have no intention of selling, I don't want to say changing your business, but modifying things to kind of be built to sell, implementing some of these changes or following some of this advice will just dramatically improve your quality of life, how your business runs. Like, it's just how to build just a very efficient business. Okay, so we're gonna run through a bunch of different points, probably about 12 different points. I'm not gonna try to take up a ton of time, but I really want you guys to get comfortable and just take notes. Make a list of this stuff, because this is extremely important, and this is stuff that we had to work on and improve upon, optimize, implement in order for us to have a sellable agency. And believe me, if you guys are missing one or two things, it can dramatically decrease your valuation. Trust me, I know. So the first thing I want to talk about, and you're going to hear me say this word throughout this entire course, okay, and that's productize, okay? And a lot of people think you can't productize a service-based business, and that's where you're 100% wrong. It doesn't matter what service-based business you're in. We can go offline. It can be a construction business, and you say, hey, there's all these different variables, and that's very true, but you still know your base costs and the base energy needed to perform a certain task. So you can use those initial numbers, you can add in your profit, your markup, and you can extrapolate that across a lot of different situations. It's all about just productizing what you have. Now, pulling it back into this online stuff, we'll show you how to do this in the whole foundation for fulfillment section. I'm going to show you guys how to productize, how we productized, how it makes things easier to fulfill, easier for salespeople to sell, easier for your salespeople to price, or whoever does the pricing. It's the way to go, okay? And you also hear a lot of brokers tell you to focus on one thing, and that might seem really intimidating to some of you guys, because it's like, hey, web design might not be the core competency, it might not be the big money we're making, but at the same time, we're doing an extra maybe $40,000-$50,000 a year in web design, and just right now it's tough to give that up, because that might cover office rent, might cover a bunch of overhead. I don't know your business model, so it's tough to say, but it might be tough to just say, hey, we have to give that up, right? But the more you focus, and maybe web design was a bad example, but for instance, if you're selling SEO and that's your core competency, then adding an AdWords division in, while you're trying to scale the SEO division, it's probably not the best idea, and it's certainly not going to impress any investors or business brokers, because you're convoluting your business model, right? You're convoluting the service that you're trying to scale. You're throwing additional variables into the mix that don't need to be there. So focus as much as you can, and if that requires you offering a few different products, or I want to keep calling them products instead of services, but if that means you offer a couple different products to your customers or clients, then that's fine. But maybe you're just offering that in a specific niche. So for instance, I offer more than one service to my dental clients, but at the same time, if a roofer or lawyer popped up looking for that same set of services, I could fulfill, but that would step outside the realm of my processes, and that would convolute the process. It would be a confusing thing for the team, and we're just not built to price, sell, or fulfill on that right now. So focus on something and productize. That's the first thing. Number two, okay, don't rely on one or two or just a handful of clients in order to make up a big amount of your revenue, okay? And you don't see this nearly as much in SEO or digital marketing even, but there's businesses out there that are completely built. There's businesses that started based on one client, and that's it. And that's cool. I actually have a family member. They do, I want to say they do about $3 million a year. It's an offline business, and their entire business was built on one customer. They actually set up a shop right there at the manufacturing facility. Their entire business was one customer, and they did, millions of dollars. They've done very, very well. But here's a true story, not to take up a bunch of your time, but the older people in the business started selling out, and now they're actually, I don't know if they sold or gave to their kids. It's none of my business, but there's new blood in there. And what they're realizing is that business wasn't built to sell, because the people that were running the business prior, they had the knowledge, they had the relationship built with the company, and now this new blood, their son, or I think it's a few of their sons, are running it, and they don't have the knowledge to fulfill at the same level of quality that their fathers did. They don't have the same rapport, the same relationship built with the client, and they're losing work down there. It's actively happening. They're losing work, and they're probably not going to be there, at least in that capacity, in the near future. And that went from a $3 million business to something where, in the next year or so, if they're even there at all, they're going to probably be a $600,000 to $700,000 a year company. And you might say, hey, they're still doing well. Okay, sure. And, that's well's a subjective term, but they're making a living. But the entire the entire business is different now. It's not a $3 million a year business. It's not employing that many people and feeding that many families and, so on and so forth. So it's a massive shift. And, the struggle with that is that one client has the control to make or break the business. You don't want that, guys. And it's the same thing if you say, hey, listen, and I've had some big clients. It's tough to turn them down, and I'm not saying you should turn them down. Take all of the big clients that you can. Just make sure you're putting other clients in there to diversify your revenue. Okay, because someone and you want to do that anyway. That's just smart, right, guys? You don't want to say, hey, I'm going to have 3 clients paying me $20,000 a month each, and I'm going to sit back, service these 3 clients, and I'm good. If one client leaves, it's a third of your monthly income. You went from $60,000 a month to $40,000 a month in snap of a fingers. You don't want to put yourself in that position. It looks terrible for a potential investor coming in to buy the business. It's terrible. You don't want to rely on just a few big clients to make up a big majority of your revenue. It looks really bad, okay? 3, and this is why we're doing what we're doing. I'm gonna really cover this extensively in this course. You want to have processes set up from A to Z, from generating the lead, if you're doing your own marketing, you need processes set up, which a lot of us will be. But for any business in general, a lot of businesses outsource their marketing. But if you have a marketing department, in our case, we're going to do a lot of our own lead generation. It needs to have a process, right? The lead generation, in our case, pulling the lead through the pipeline and the sales process, following up, onboarding, fulfilling, reporting, customer for life programs, all of that stuff needs to be broken into processes. The more systems you have laid out that can be handed over to someone else, a new team or a new owner, the more valuable your business becomes. You need those processes. If you could have as much revenue as anyone, and if your business isn't broken into systems and processes, it's a nightmare. Investors aren't going to touch you, and brokers they're going to crush your valuation fairly quickly. Don't be the face of your company. Don't be the reason clients show up. I wouldn't even suggest you have a relationship with the clients. As crazy as that might sound, you might say, look, and here's the thing, if you read, Chet Holmes, The Ultimate Sales Machine, he'll tell you you're crazy. He was best friends with his clients, and he did really well, so there's no way I'm going to make a hard stance argument against building a good relationship with your clients. It's smart. And it's exactly what the guys did that I told you about earlier. They had a really good relationship with this manufacturing facility, and it's the reason things went so well for them. And, without that relationship, that can suffer. But if you're strictly building a sellable asset, don't think of it in terms of we don't want a relationship with our clients. Think of it in terms of we want an account manager in there, an account manager that is just loyal to the business, but it's not us. It's not our face. If we want to sell, that account manager goes with the business, or the processes and the templates and the emails and the phone calls that account manager does is all systematized, and it can be handed to a completely different account manager to do the same job. So hopefully that makes sense. But people that say, hey, I'm best friends with my client, I hope you're making a ton of money. You have to consider when Chet Holmes said that, he closed, 40 of the top 5 Fortune 500 companies. He wasn't having money troubles at all, right? He wasn't a guy making $5,000 a month saying I'm best friends with my clients and I'm trying to grow my business. So keep that in mind. Chet Holmes is a brilliant man. He was just, the type of client he was going after and the type of business he was building is going to be a lot different than you or I. I don't try to acquire Fortune 500 clients exclusively. If you do, become their best friend, land 25, 55, 100 of them, and, that friendship's going to pay off and you're going to do really, really well. You're just probably not going to easily sell your business because it's, you're way involved. You are the brand, okay? 5, we want quick revenue, and this is something that really, it's great for SEO and stuff, even paper performance marketing. I mean, you usually set up the payment structure so you get paid, fairly quickly once whatever the agreement, whatever you agreed upon has been fulfilled. We want to avoid stuff where, we're doing lengthy projects and not getting paid. And that's one really cool thing, especially about selling, SEO. Once the sale's made, we get the credit card. We throw the numbers in, we get paid. So that looks phenomenal. No investor or broker wants to go in and say, oh, you're doing these $100,000 web design projects, but it's taking you, 3 months and you're covering payroll of the developers and designers, and your paydays once every 3 months in that case. And I understand, you get draws and deposits and stuff with web design, but it was just a quick example off the top of the head, so keep that in mind. Next is focus, and we talked a bit about this. Number 6 is you want to really focus, and that's again, if I'm selling SEO, I might have an opportunity where a company falls into my lap and says, listen, we're spending $10,000, $15,000 a month with this company. They're managing our Facebook account and our AdWords or what have you. Do you guys think you could do a better job? And you're sitting here and you might be even friends with them at this point or whatever. Or they're friends of a friend. It was a hot lead from a referral or, whatnot. And you look and you say, hey, I'm managing my own Facebook, my own, AdWords account. I could probably really help them here. I could make some extra cash. And, a lot of people look at that extra money and they jump. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Again, if you're making $5,000 a month and you want to, have a little bit better of a life, then jump on the $10,000. If you're really confident you can fulfill and, it'll be a good experience for both of you, then I encourage you to take the money. However, a business broker, a consultant that's, helping you build your business to be sold, they're going to tell you not to take that every single time. And that's because you're detracting, or I'm sorry, you're moving off track. your focus is detracting from SEO and moving towards AdWords, and it's not a core competency. It's probably not something you have a ton of systems put together for, and that can really bite you in the butt. Not just causing mass confusion for you and your agency, making extra work that isn't easily fulfilled because the processes aren't there, but investors and brokers are going to look at that, and if there's a lot of that, or if it's excessive, excuse me, they're not going to be impressed, believe me. 7, this is so big. Make sure you're writing these stuff down, guys. Market research. People want to know, and this is easy for us. I mean, it's business owners, right? Anyone with a website. And if you niche down, then it's, you know, dentists, doctors, lawyers, HVAC guys. You know, we have our target market. But have some market research. Know the demographics and maybe even some of the psychographics of your, you know, your target market. And it's really important. Investors love to see it. Brokers want to see it. The more information you have, the more they can just easily look at your business and the info you have and just pick up and, you know, implement marketing strategies they used in the past, stuff like that. The easier it is for them to do that, the more money your business is going to be worth. That's all there is to it. 8, growth. So traditionally, the internet, and I don't want to get too deep into this, but the internet, and especially like just e-commerce and affiliate sites and anything that generates money is just, it's insane the multiples that people are getting right now. And I don't think it's going to stop. It's going to keep growing. People are starting to view e-commerce stores and affiliate sites and just anything, any website, any online asset or platform that's generating revenue, it's looked at as like digital real estate at this point. And I don't think it's going to stop. So much money's made online. But so traditionally, you know, people want to see years of growth, you know, in order for them to, and this isn't the law, guys. Like there's always going to be plenty of times where this doesn't ring true, but in a traditional business acquisition, they want to see steady growth over an extended period of time, and online, that's just not the case. So as soon as you have this stuff implemented, you know, it's nice to have 6 to 12 months of steady growths and consistent revenue. If month 1 you made 50 grand, and month 2 you made 0, month 3 you made 5 grand, month 4 you made 20 grand. Those inconsistencies, that's not a safe bet for an investor or a business, you know, someone that wants to acquire a business. That's a gamble. That's a dice roll at that point. So they want to see consistent revenue and steady growth, okay? And if you do have spikes in growth, you should be able to justify that. And again, if you have a spike in your growth, you know what it came from. It's not like we're selling, it's not like, you know, we're selling millions of items in just this massive e-commerce situation, and, you know, we have to look through attribution models to figure out why there was a, you know, a spike in sales. It's not that difficult. If you got, you know, if you grew your business by 10,000 more this month than any other month, you know what you did. You know what that came from, right? You can attribute that success to something. So, really important. 9, real teams. Okay, and when I say team, I'm not saying you need a warehouse full of people. I'm not saying you need any type of like the complex setup that we have with the hybrid system. That's not necessary. What you need, though, is for someone else to be doing the work, not you. And if you are doing the work, it needs to be something that's handed off very, very easily. Very easily. It's a system, it's a process, you just happen to be doing it. I think people like to see teams, though. If they don't have to put a team in place, or they look at your team and say, hey, this team's identical to this team we already have, we'll be able to plug them into the process very easy. It's going to make the idea of the sale a lot more attractive to them. So even if you're arbitraging widgets and you have a VA that he monitors orders that come in through a Trello board, and he, you know, orders the widgets from your drop shipper or your wholesaler, whatever. And then you have 2 account managers that quality control your VA widget buyer, and you know, they deal with customer support, and they're the kind of the, I don't want to say the face of the brand, but if, you know, if someone reaches out or someone needs, you know, to have a conversation, that's who they speak with. And all this stuff's broken into processes, and there's templates, and there's a customer support dashboard, and, you know, you have your, you know, everything else is in place, then that's perfect. That's your team. That's your 3-person team. If you have, you know, like us, where you're around 50 employees, that's fine. It's a real team. It's not fly-by-night VAs scattered everywhere. It's not complete chaos, right? We have real teams. We have real company structure in place. We have, you know, a support team. We have people that do specific pieces of, we have specialists, if you will. They do specific pieces of the fulfillment. You know, we have a IT guy, we have a account manager, we have other managers, we have quality control. It's real teams, real processes, and that's what investors want to see, okay? Oops, sorry. This is really big, especially for us, especially for SEOs or people that are doing any type of digital marketing, and that's number 10, and that's contracts. Guys, I can tell you, I've been in positions to buy agencies, and I've been in positions to sell, and if your clients aren't under contract, the value of your business is, it's nothing. Okay, if there is no, and I mean, again, if you guys are doing contracts, just to kind of throw this in there, if you're building, never mind, I'll add this. This will be the 13th thing. On the fly, guys. Improv. Hashtag improv. Your guys need to be under contracts. There's nothing stopping. You can say, hey, man, I'm doing $100,000 a month, $500,000 a month. The number's arbitrary. If those clients aren't under contract, I could buy the business tonight and they could leave tomorrow, and there's no security. My investment has zero security at that point. Any business broker or your mergers and acquisitions attorney you're using to do the deal, what have you, I promise you, call them right now. They'll tell you you're crazy if you'd even consider buying a business, an SEO business or whatever, anything where you have recurring revenue from clients without a contract. It's insane. Make sure you're getting some type of contract in place from your customers. I understand it makes the deal a little bit harder. I understand it makes the close a little bit more difficult, but if you really want to have security there for a potential buyer investor, you need to have contracts. 11, marketing systems. And this doesn't necessarily just mean new lead generation and stuff for businesses or agencies that might be outsourcing the marketing and lead generation. This means retention strategies, referral strategies, all of that stuff. You need to have your marketing and sales systems in place, your everything. People want to see that. Investors and brokers are going to want to see that. You're going to get the best evaluation by having your I's dotted and your T's crossed in that department. 12, ease of handoff. Again, having all of the previous 11 things in order are going to make the handoff a lot easier. If it's a situation where you're going to need to be paid as a consultant or a glorified employee for you to stay on for 2 years before they'll be able to get the business handed off, that's not going to be an attractive deal for an investor, guys. So keep that in mind. And here's the new one, 13. It's what I almost got into at the 10 under the contracts. Again, and it applies to contracts as well. Don't just grab, if you really want to build a real business, you need an attorney. You need a business attorney. Chaz from Web20, Brian says Brian is an attorney. He's a practicing attorney. But Chaz and I have a business attorney on retainer. If we need something, we have a business attorney. You might not be in a position where you want to put one on retainer, but as often as we need papers signed, we need, oh man, all the little legal stuff, we need an attorney. And if you're going to do contracts and you want those contracts to not be null and void during an acquisition or even risk having holes in them, you should have a real attorney put them together specifically for your business and the type of, productized services we're going to be selling. And that would be another thing. Make sure the legal stuff in the business is really accounted for, guys. So this video definitely ran over. I wanted to keep the getting warmed up section to, a few minutes per video, but this is something I definitely wanted to talk about. When I was getting ready to do the video, it was, it was initially just going to be, hey, you guys need to be building this stuff to sell. And, I completely realized that I should really invest the time into giving you guys a list. There was the list. Hopefully you took notes. If not, we'll have to get some type of a download together for you guys and put it in the member section. But it's very important, guys. The 13 points you really need if you want to sell a business. This is coming from someone who's working on selling right now. I've been in positions where, we were making offers on agencies before and, working with a broker and a mergers and acquisitions attorney to put together offers. And, I'm telling you exactly what you need if you want to sell the business. And listen, guys, again, even if you don't want to sell, if you go back through those 13 things, your business is going to run more efficiently. You'll be able to plug other people in more effectively. You'll be able to scale easier and quicker. And, it's even if you don't want to build to sell, building it to sell is the way to go. So sorry for the lengthy video, guys. It's almost like it's almost like nostalgic from the first LCT videos I ever did, where they were like 80 minutes. But, I really wanted to cover a lot of points. Sorry for the lengthy video. I'll catch you in the next one, guys.